You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, episode 14 with Lorna Lewis. Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Iona Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I'm your host, Iona Garrett, and this is another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. I am simply thrilled to introduce my guest today, none other than Lorna Lewis. Lorna, are you ready to stalk some success today?
Oh, I am so ready.
Good. Well, let's get to it. Well, native of Louisiana, Lorna Lewis is an author, an entrepreneur, and also a mother and a wife. Lorna was hit by the writing bug in the spring of 2009 while she was working on an independent educational project. She self-published her novel, Dirty Little Secrets, and her daily devotional, The Gift of an Abundant Life, within weeks of each other. Both books received raved reviews. In March 2012, she published her second novel, Dirty Little Secrets 2, Expect the Unexpected. She also has written a motivational book called Why Not Me and has just recently signed with Brown Girls Publishing. So, Lorna, I've given our listeners just a little overview. So take a minute and tell us about you personally because we want to get to know you. Then give us an overview of your success path.
Sure. Okay, other than you name my books, other than being an author, I'm also an educator. I teach kindergarten, and I love teaching because of the creativity, and that's where the writing comes in. That I have to be creative. That's just who I am. So I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm an entrepreneur, as you said, and I love life, and I'm just enjoying everything that I'm going through. You know, there's some ups, there's some downs, but the ups are really, really good. Lately, the downs have been really, really down, but I've come to accept that that's just the journey of life. And, you know, I can't stop. I can't let it stop me from the path that I know God has for me.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. Though the journey, it's always going to be those bumps in the road, and sometimes we're up and we're down, but we keep going, and that's definitely the life of an entrepreneur.
So I'm learning. It was
well,
easy.
Lorna,
Being a teacher was easy compared
I
to
know, right? Well, because it's like you're told what to do. They tell you what to do. So when you're an
Exactly.
entrepreneur, you're basically you're it. You have to
That's
be
it.
your own boss. You're the captain of the ship. So
Right.
if the ship is going down, you're going down with the ship.
Right. That's for sure.
Well, Lorna, we're going to dive way deep into your journey in just a few minutes. But before we do, we always like to start Success Stalkers Radio off with a success quote to really get that motivational ball rolling. So take it away.
My success quote is, and when I heard it, it really did change my view and my perception on where I was going. And it's that success is a journey and not a destination. And it changed me because I was so focused on the books and so focused on the sale that I forgot to enjoy the process. So once I heard that quote and I took it in and I had to stop. I really did. I stopped and I was like, okay, everything from this point on, I'm going to enjoy. I'm not going to be so focused on a sale. I'm going to be really focusing on the process of meeting people and, preparing, the excitement of preparing for it and talking to different people. I'm going to really inhale all of it and enjoy it. it's a journey and it's meant to be enjoyed. It's not, because, and even with my kids, I kind of left them out some because I was so focused on getting that. Like, I have to sell these books. I have to, it has to be good. So now I'm bringing them into the process. They help me with signs and commercials that we do on YouTube, and it's just fun. It's
Oh,
fun.
that's awesome. And you're
So
so right on.
that's my quote.
Well, Lorna, here at Success Talkers Radio, we are all about the story, the journey. And that's what we want to hear about today, about your story, your journey. And I know that you have had quite an amazing journey up until this point. But what we want to focus on right now, first and foremost, is say a failure. Let's focus on that because we all have those. As entrepreneurs, we know there are going to be some failures, and so
Yeah.
take us to a place and time where you fell flat on your face, and I want you to take us there with you so we can feel like we're right there alongside of you, and then I want you to share with us some lessons that you learned from it.
And I thought about that question, and I don't want to say I have not had any failures, but I've had rejections.
Okay.
And being an author, it's because I write the books and I do the manuscript, and it's up to other people to either accept it or not. So when you first start writing, the goal is to go to a major publishing company, unless you're just an author who just like control of your own product, which I'm not because like I said at first, I'm creative. The business side I'm still working on. So the rejections though was the hardest because I felt like I wrote this book and everyone else who read it loved this book. So what do you mean it's not right for your publishing house? Why is it not right for your publishing house? You are supposed to love this too. So it's learning to accept rejection and understand, like I have a new motto now, that rejection is actually God's protection. It's God's way of closing the door and saying, nope, that's not the one. And it doesn't always have to be about you. It could be about the other person. They weren't a right fit for you. They're telling me my book isn't right for them, but actually they may just not be right for my book. So it's just learning to turn those things around and use them to build yourself up. Because sometimes you have to kind of talk, motivate yourself and talk yourself through no matter how bad it looks at the time, and understanding that even if it is a failure, because it could be a failure in different aspects of a company, or depending on what you're trying to go out and achieve. But you have to learn to look at it a different way. Find a positive in it if you can. And that's my thing. I always try to find a positive somewhere. Even if no one else sees it, I'm going to try to see it for me.
That's
so
great.
That's
great.
Learning to accept rejection is one. And I could have had a failure recently because, like you said, I did sign with Brown Girls Publishing, and I've always heard to be prepared. Be prepared is because something you don't always have the opportunity to get prepared when an opportunity presents itself to you. And recently, I was asked for my media kit, and I didn't have a media kit. Now I know what a media kit is.
Right.
I read all about a media kit. I know exactly what I need to do to get a media kit, but I just did not take the time to do it. And then then they needed it, and I'm stuck. But I was able to get someone to help me with it, and put one together nicely. But you don't always have that chance, so it's better to be prepared before the opportunity presents itself than trying to rush and get prepared once it's there.
You are so right on, my sister. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yes,
yeah.
Indeed. So Lorna, let's go forward, and as we transition to the other end of the spectrum, which is the aha moment, the light bulb moment. So because like you've had lessons, you learned from those failures, or from those experiences. I know you've had some amazing ideas that have helped you to become successful. So just tell us one, Lorna, and remember, this is a story. We want the story. We want to feel like we're right there with you when you had that aha moment. So take us down to the ground level, girl. Let us know.
Oh, my aha moment. I was on the phone with a life coach. She was on a free coaching session.
Okay.
And we were talking, and she was asking me, she was asking me about my books and my product. And we started talking about my brand. I had no idea what my brand was. It was like, she was like, so tell, what's your brand? I don't know what my brand is. And she broke it down to me and she said, well, see, that's the thing. You have to have a brand. She said, you are really focusing on selling books. You need to be focusing on selling you. You are your brand. So that was my aha moment. That really was, because it was like, I am. I am. I mean, down to, we even talked about clothes. She was like, what do you like to wear when you go to book signings? Everyone else has been telling me I need to wear, you need to dress up. You need to look like this. And I was sharing that with her, and she said, why? Because everyone else told you to? And my thing was, yes. And she was like, but is that you? Are you comfortable in that? And I wasn't. And she said, okay, well, your brand is you. From the clothes that you wear to the color that you wear to, how you speak, where you speak, that is your brand. When people see you, they need to see your brand. And that shows through with your books. And so that was really an aha moment for me. It was like I really started thinking about myself versus the books. I started thinking about, because people buy, even if they're not interested in what you're selling, if they're interested in you, some people buy just because they like you, not necessarily because they right.
Right.
So when she said that, it was like, oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. She's right on. I agree with that 100%. You are the brand. You are the
It
product.
started making sense. I'm learning so much, and that's what's so amazing. The people that, because in the beginning, you start off and you think you know what you're getting yourself into, but it's not until, it's so amazing how once you start, how things start coming together, and the people that you meet and the things that you learn, even if you're not seeking it, it just comes to you because you started. And that's what's so amazing for me.
That's because it's about the journey. We learn so
Yes,
much more on the journey. We focus so many times on the end, getting to the end of the journey, but we
yes,
forget, like you said in the beginning, to enjoy, embrace the process
right,
along the journey, because the person that you're going to become is what's more important,
exactly.
along that journey. And that if more people would embrace that, they will understand that their life will be so much better, especially in business or in entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah,
It's tough. It's tough. I don't make that to say that it's easy, but it just will help them to understand the process, and
definitely,
you'll just have a lot more success and a lot
definitely,
more quicker, actually. So
right,
yeah,
right.
so I definitely agree with that. So, Lorna, let's shift the focus for a minute because I want to shine a spotlight on you, okay? For just a second.
Okay.
What would you say is your proudest moment, your proudest entrepreneurial moment?
Oh my, my proudest moment so far. I have always loved Victoria Christopher Murray's books. I've always loved Rashonna Tate Billingsley's books. Had you told me that I would be working with them, I would have laughed in your face. Like, whatever. I was sitting in a faculty meeting and I got an inbox and it was from Victoria. And she said, aren't you writing another book? And I responded, yes. And she said, or do you plan to self-publish? There's a reason why I'm asking. So I said, yeah, I said, I still plan to self-publish, but I'm not close to looking for a publishing company because I'm still sending out letters to try and get with the publishing company. And so she didn't say anything else after that. So the next day, it was still on my mind. I was like, okay, Victoria Christopher Murray is inboxing me about my book that I have not even written yet, and that's it. Oh no, So I inboxed her. I said, you know, you cannot ask me those questions and not tell me more.
I love
So
it.
she said,
Love
like
it.
I could just read her expression through the text, and she was like, I know. Okay, you have to promise not to say anything. So I said, I promise I won't say anything. And she said, Rashonda and I are thinking about doing our own imprint. And I was asking because I wanted to see if you were interested in being one of our featured writers.
Oh
I
my.
could have dropped. Now, at
Wow.
this time, the first text came through the day before while I was in a faculty meeting. At this time, it was the next day I was at lunch with my students. I could have dropped that phone and ran out the building. Kids
I'm
just
sure.
left
I'm
there by
sure.
themselves because I was having a moment like, are you kidding? And then I said, you have the nerve to ask me? Am I interested? What? And all you have to say is, we saw the imprint, you one of our featured writers. Okay.
Wow. That is so awesome. So
That
awesome,
did it for
Lorna.
me. And I, like I said, no one would have been able to tell me that was gonna happen because I started off reading these ladies. They were one of my first, like, I started when I really got into reading adult novels, when I switched over from Judy Blume to adult novels, I started with them. So that it's funny how everything is coming full circle.
That is just phenomenal. It just goes to show you that when you keep pushing forward on your journey, the people that need to be put in front of your path will be there.
Right.
You just have to keep going, and we can't figure it out in the beginning. And that's the problem. Most times, people get stuck
Right.
when they want to, step out on their goals and their dreams, but they get stuck thinking that they have to have everything in place in the
Yes.
beginning. Because I was that way. I wouldn't move. I mean, I'm telling you, girl, I wouldn't move. I'm like, no, I don't have that in place. That's not in place. You know, I still don't have a lot of things in place, even for this radio
Right.
show just yet. But we are moving
Yes,
forward.
that's what you
I
have to
said, you know what?
do.
It's gonna come.
Right.
What will be will be. We're gonna move forward, and my team, they know. My heart is just it's in the right
Right.
place. I'm like, I don't have all the answers, but we're moving forward.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
I heard someone
We'll figure it
say,
out along the
I
way.
heard someone say in a speech, he said, everything that is happening to you is preparing you for what you asked for. And what is so amazing to me about that statement stuck with me because just seeing how everything is falling into place
Mhm.
is so amazing. I mean, even my low points, because honestly, the lowest of the low point was a couple of years ago when my daughter passed. And once that my daughter passing, and I'm not saying that, that this is why all of this is happening, but it all happened due to this. So I still, I know, like, after she passed, I said, there's a purpose to the pain. There's a purpose in the pain. I don't know what the purpose is, but I know there's a purpose. And once she passed is when Rashonda told me that she was doing a Motherhood Diaries book. And she wanted to know if I wanted to do the entry in the book, Diary of a Grieving Mother. She said, I know it's still soon, because it was like maybe a couple, maybe 2 to 3 weeks after she had passed when Rashonda emailed me. She said, I know it's still soon, so if you're not ready, I understand. But I was, she said, I just felt like it could help someone. That's all she had to tell me. It could help someone because, my thing is, this not going to be in vain. If somebody can get help from my story, then I'm going to share it,
And that's what it's about.
So I did, exactly. I did the Diary of a Grieving Mother, and that is what called Victoria's attention because I'd already sent my manuscript to Victoria to just read, and she never read it. So after she read my entry in Diary of a Grieving Mother, she said, okay, now I have to read Dirty Little Secrets. Well, now I'm nervous because Diary of a Grieving Mother was written with a lot of
Right.
emotion. So don't expect the secrets to be the same thing. So she read the little secrets and she inboxed me again. She was like, I'm so mad at you. You should have forced me to read this book a long time ago.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm thinking, well, I tried to ask you to read it, but you didn't read it.
Oh my goodness.
But her reading Diary of a Grieving Mother and then reading Dirty Little Secrets is what prompted her to ask me to come in with them to be one of the featured writers with Brown Girls Publishing.
Wow.
So it's just amazing how God will use something to, to put you in different places and to bring different people into to make you feel aware of who you are.
Right.
And of your story.
Right.
And, they're helping me because I know that these are stepping stones because I see something much, much greater in store in the future. And I always tell people I love teaching, but I also know that East Baton Rouge Fair School System isn't going to get me where I foresee myself going.
Right.
The paycheck that I get from them is not going to buy that house that I see in my head.
Oh, yeah, I understand. That's just a remarkable story. I really felt like I was right there with you, when you were sharing that. And, it's about that whole thing called beauty for ashes. God will give you, beauty for your ashes. And just listening to that story, it just makes me think about that. How all the pain in our life, the bad things in our life can always be turned around when we change our perspective and when we open our hearts and our minds to receive something better. And so that's just a powerful, powerful story. And I know that our listeners are going to be just blown away, by the time this airs and they get a chance to hear what the things you're saying. Because somebody out there is going through the same thing. There's always somebody. There's always somebody, dealing with that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
definitely,
now, and leading to that, you kind of touched on a lot of things in my next question because we both understand now what it means to be an entrepreneur. You're on a roller coaster of emotions. It's
right.
One day you're up, the next day you're down. The next week you could be all the way up, and then 2 days later you're just like wanting to go outside and just slit your wrist. And it's just
exactly.
So, I mean, it can just be really frustrating. And so what I want to ask you is tell our listeners, how do you keep your focus? How do you keep that end result in mind, keep your goals in mind to keep going when those days happen?
I have 2 vision boards in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I have one in my work area, and I have one where I do laundry, the places I spend the most time.
Good.
So
I like that.
I keep that in my. I have to see that. I have to see it because what's on my vision board is too great to give up. Okay. And like you said, I wrote the book "Why Not Me," and I have to keep telling myself that. Mm-hmm. Why not me? Why can't I do that? Right. Why? Okay, this may have happened, but other people have overcome this. Oh, they've overcome. Why can't I?
Right.
So I have to keep the pictures, and I have to keep that tape recorder playing in my head. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, this may have happened, but you can do it. If
those
God
affirmations,
gave
those affirmations, you have to do that. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
It's so important.
Definitely.
Every day, I do affirmations every morning, because your voice is the loudest voice in your own head.
Yes.
You'll listen.
Definitely.
You'll listen to yourself. If you tell yourself something over and over and over again, you're going to believe it. You are going to believe it, whether it's good or bad. So, and I used to tell myself bad stuff all the time, and we beat ourselves up, when things don't go right. And every time you beat yourself up, you're setting yourself back. You're basically taking steps backwards when you do that.
Definitely.
So, I encourage people, talk positive to yourself, even when you don't feel like it, because eventually your words are going to change the way you feel.
Yes. You know what I like to do whenever I'm in those, because I am, like I said, it's only been 2 years, so it's still a process, a grieving process. So whenever I feel myself going to that place, and sometimes, you just have to go. Sometimes you just have to cry. You just have to get it out.
Of course. I call
it a cleansing process. So I go through my cleansing process, but I can't stay there. So I go and I find something on YouTube, something funny, just something to make you laugh because laughter is such a powerful
It's
feeling.
medicine. It's medicine.
Oh, it feels, and see, that's how I said God must have known that the walk was going to be kind of rough because let me tell you, my husband keeps me in stitches because he comes up with the craziest things. It's like, are you
That's awesome.
serious? But he
That's
makes me
awesome. That's
laugh.
just what you need. It's just what you
Yes,
need.
yes,
That's healing. That's healing medicine. Laughter is good. If
it
I
is.
laugh at myself, I laugh at myself all the time. Now I used to didn't do
Yeah,
that, but I do now. It's like
right,
I used to get so frustrated. I would beat up myself when things didn't go right, if I did something what I thought was stupid or silly. Now I just laugh at
right.
myself, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, whatever. I'll just laugh and keep going.
That's it. That's it. You can't change it. So what's the point? You know, like, okay, I'll do it better next time.
Right. So success stalkers, the key is lighten up. Just lighten up. Just let go. Just
Yes,
laugh it off and keep going. Just keep going.
that's it. Life is too short for misery. I mean, I know I've been through a lot, but I still don't have time for misery. I don't. I cannot, when I look back over my life, I don't want to see more upset, sad days than I see happy days and joyful days. I don't want to live that type of life. I'm not made for that type of life.
You're in control. We are all in control of that, and you have the power to change that. And this is great. You're dropping some great stuff on our listeners today, and you're definitely
Thank you.
inspiring me. But we're gonna move a little
Oh.
further. We're gonna move a little
Mhm.
further because I know that you are a success stalker. I hear it in your voice. I'm just listening to your story. I just know that you are. But I know you always have some projects brewing up because that's just what we do as entrepreneurs. We always got something going. So, what new
Oh yes.
projects are you working on that you're really excited about in your business or your career right now?
Ooh. Well, I just finished the book that I submitted with Brown Girls Publishing. It's called Crying on the Inside. So that one is being edited, and it's about two sisters. One sister chose, I'm from Louisiana, from a little town called Varnado.
I know what that
So,
is.
yes, so I look, every time I have a chance, I'm going to put Varnado in a book because Varnado is going to be known all over the world before we know. So one sister, well, both sisters are from Varnado. One sister chose to stay because their mom was sick. The other sister moved to New York because she never felt that she fit in with this family. This family was too country for her. And the mom was sick. She's sick, but she's mentally sick. She was abusive. She'd been through a lot. So these sisters have a lot of emotions going on, negative emotions going on the inside of them. So although on the outside you see them living this life and they seem like they're doing good and they're happy and they're going on about their day, on the inside they are just torn up. So it's dealing with them trying to heal themselves from the inside out.
Love it. Love
So
it. That's
that's
great.
crying on the inside.
So
And
when does that do? When
my
is that going to
father,
be ready?
this one, it should be ready by the fall.
Oh,
I'm looking
good.
at either late summer or early fall.
Well, you got to keep us updated on that.
Oh, I certainly will.
Good, good.
The
Well, not.
one that I'm working, I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, so that one is off being edited, and I can't stop. So once I finish one, I'm immediately starting another one.
That's
So
awesome. That is
I'm
awesome.
halfway finished with I always, you know what? When I was growing up, I always had these little voices in my head, and I'm not crazy, but I always had these voices in my head, and they
We
were
all
always
talk to
telling
ourselves. Don't
stories.
worry about it. Everybody
They
does.
were yeah, they were always telling stories, and I did not understand it. And I always tell people that when you have a gift, oftentimes other people see it before you see it
Yeah.
because it's a part of who you are.
Sure.
So my teachers always encouraged me to write. I knew that I could write. You know, I knew that I could start a paper the night before and get an A on it because it was no, I didn't have to put a lot of effort into it.
Mhm.
But for me, it wasn't I don't want to do that. This isn't anything I want to do. So once I started, though, it started making sense. Well, this is why I have these stories playing in my head. It's meant for me to write them out. So that's why once I finish with one, I'm telling you, it's like, oh, this will make a good story. So I start another one.
Wow, that's great.
Now, my father is a preacher, a pastor, right?
And I
So
happen
he
to know, and I happen
actually,
to know your is your grandfather or your grandfather?
my father.
Okay.
So he asked me, he said, well, what's the title of the one you're working on now? So you know it's a shame when you have to kind of bite your lip and give an explanation before you go into, before you tell him the titles. I said, now, Daddy, understand that this one is a little different, but it's not what you think. He was like, what's the title? The title of my fourth one is Wife Swap.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, well, maybe it is what you think, but I have to tell him it's not what you
Right,
think.
right. That's an interesting title. I'm sure he had.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was
Wife
pretty an
Swap.
interesting moment. Yeah. Well, we're going to move to our next segment of the interview, which is one of my favorite parts of the interview, which is called the success round, Lorna. And what I want to do right here is I'm going to throw some questions at you. And I want you to come back at me with some knockout answers. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right. Well, what was it that held you back from becoming an entrepreneur before you started?
Comfort. I was comfortable, and I did not want to step out because I was comfortable. And honestly, mediocre was fine for me at that point.
Mhm.
But then it got to a point where mediocre was no longer an option.
Yes, indeed. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Well, what was the best business advice you've ever received?
I don't have to do it all.
Mhm.
I don't have to be everything. Find someone and bring them into your circle who can do that. I always tell people I'm a creative mind. I'm not necessarily a business mind.
Mhm.
So I find someone who is.
That's good.
And let them handle that part. You still stay in, you still talk with them and you still communicate because you don't want to totally, let someone handle all your business
Right.
without you knowing what's going
Right.
on. But if
Right.
someone can do it better, then why try to do it all?
Right. Well, you definitely want to keep your finger on the pulse of your business, by just asking questions. Even if you don't understand,
Right.
ask the questions. But yes, you can't do it all. And I understand because when I used to own a boutique, I tried to do everything, and you
Yes.
will burn out fast. And before you know
Yes.
it, you'll be out of business. So
Definitely.
you gotta
Right.
kind of delegate, find people that are smarter than you, to
Yes.
handle those things. And it's not a matter of that you're not smart or that you're unintelligent. You're very intelligent, but you're not
Right.
a whiz and a master at everything. So you have to be able to
Exactly.
learn how to delegate those things. So that's great. I'm glad you said that. Great point. Great point. So can you share one of your daily personal habits with our success talkers today?
One of mine, and I know I already answered it is the affirmations. It's telling myself over and over again that I can do this. I can do this. I deserve this. I had to get to the point where I realized I deserve this. It's not just I can do it and I can have it. I deserve to have it.
Right. And you have to tell yourself because not everybody's going to tell you. So you have to learn how to tell yourself,
Exactly.
when nobody else is there because it's going to get lonely, sometimes on an entrepreneurial journey. You're not going to always have somebody cheering you on the side, with the pom-poms saying go, go, go. So you got to be able to tell yourself and encourage yourself. That's something that I had to learn to
Exactly.
do. Yeah. So do you have an internet resource or a business tool that you can share with our listeners?
Um, Now, what I use in my business, and I'm hoping I understand this correctly, but it's an app actually, which is called Pages.
Okay.
Pages is like Word, and all of my novels are typed in Pages because it's so easy to use. I know it's through on the iPad. I'm not really sure about other electronic devices, but definitely on iPad.
Okay. Okay. So it's called Pages.
Pages, yes,
Okay,
and it's
good.
free.
Oh, good. Good. Thank
And
you
I
for that.
love free.
Yes, free is good. Free is always good. Well, what book would you recommend, or books, let's say books, would
Okay.
you recommend to our listeners?
Oh, okay. The first book that I would recommend is Russell Simmons' book, Do You. I
Okay.
love that book, The
I
12
haven't
Laws to
read that.
Access to Power.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
It's
Good.
so good. It's called Do You.
I'm adding that
The
to my
next book,
list.
yes. The next one is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I've read that.
My
Oh.
thing is, if you want to be highly effective, why not learn from people who are?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
For the for the authors, Michelle Stimson has a book called The 21 Day Publishing Plan.
Okay.
That
Oh,
one is
wow.
really good.
Now say that one again because I want to make sure our listeners heard that. That's a good. That's
I'm
good.
sorry, I know I'm talking fast.
That's
It's the
okay.
21-day publishing plan
Okay. And it's by
by
who?
Michelle Stimson.
Good. Good. Because I know there's going to be some aspiring authors out here that want to do the same thing you did, and that need some help. So that's a great resource.
Yes. And the last one is called Why Not Me by L.A. Lewis. I heard that one was
Got to
a good
put
one.
that plug in there. Put that plug in there, girl. That's right.
Yes.
I love it. I
I
love it. I
heard that
love
one
it.
was a good
Yes.
motivational book.
I love it. I love it. Well, our last question, Lorna, is we're going to have a little fun with this, okay? And I want you to
Oh, okay.
just relax and imagine that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all of the experience and the knowledge that you currently have today. Your food is taken care of, your shelter is taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
Oh, the next 7 days, I don't have to worry about food or shelter.
That's right.
So let's see what I'm going to do in the next 7 days. I know I'm a write because I have to write. So it's good I have my laptop because I
That's
will
good.
be writing. Don't travel may be limited with only $500. I will still want to see, I still want to see some things. So I'm going to have to go somewhere. And I will use some of that money because that's why my travel is going to be limited because I still have to do some promotions because it's just in me. And these people don't know me, so I'm going to have to do a lot of promoting.
Right, and networking, yeah, definitely.
Yes, a lot of networking, a lot of promoting. But that one is tricky because there's a lot I would want to do, but I'm going to need more than $500.
Well, you can take that 500 to get started at least. Yeah, so that's just to get you going, get you started.
And see, education is a part of who I am. Even though one day I do see myself outside of the classroom, I would still want to be able to speak. So I would still try to go and encourage some people, motivate some people. I may even do me some flyers to do some tutoring because I still want to be with some children.
Wow, that's good. That's good. That's good. It's all about putting yourself out there, and whatever it takes. Just be creative, put yourself out there so people can notice you.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about. Well, Lorna, I'm telling you, I have really enjoyed this interview today, and hearing your journey, it's been truly inspiring, and I know that our listeners have been inspired too and have taken away, some really good tips and some nuggets, and I want to ask you a quick question though. If you can just give our listeners a piece of parting, advice, some guidance, a little bit of advice that you can share with them, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay, mine, because I'm all for God, so I know that if God gives you the vision, then He will give you the provision. All He wants you to do is get started. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about the end result. Just get started. He'll give you what you need along the way.
I love it. I love it. I am with you, sister. I love it. Well, listen, our listeners can also, find the links to everything that we've been chatting about at successstalkers.com/Lorna Lewis. And it will all be there on the show notes page. So, Lorna, we really appreciate you for being so generous with your time today. And so we say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Good, good. And for our listeners out there, for everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. And until our next episode, keep stalking success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review. Hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.